Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, or broken clocks in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Balthazar.
and today we're going to be giving to you a packed episode that shouldn't actually be too ridiculously long. You know, we've said that before and then talked for 50 minutes.
Yep.
But we're going to be covering basketball recruiting, the recent 2022 NFL Draft and what that means for the K-State Wildcat football team. We'll be covering the recap of the Batcats, including two less than ideal games. Then we will be having the triumphant return of the wacky segment of the week.
It has been long awaited,
Yeah.
but it is finally back.
Yeah, if you just check our Twitter mentions, you can see the whole zeros of people that have asked for this to come back.
Yeah, no one has asked for it, but we're going to pretend that it is just being clamored for by the audience and not just that we need to fill time.
That's definitely it. That's definitely not why it started in the offseason. But let's start off with recruiting news, where we actually have two brand new commits for the men's Catsketball team, or the Doomtang Clan, as I'm still calling it. And that comes in 3-star guard Dorian Finister from New Orleans, as well as 7th-ranked junior college forward Naquan Tomlin. Both of these are going to be big, pardon the pun, big additions to the Doomtang Clan. And after we cover them, we'll cover a little bit of an announcement that will be happening on Monday. But what do you have on Finister and Tomlin?
Finister is the type of player that you really like to see thrown in to round out a class, because he's somebody that I think needs a lot of work in the weight room, because he's 6'5", but his highlights, he isn't the most bouncy player, just doesn't have a great vertical, so he struggles to get over the rim at times. I say that relatively speaking as someone that's never touched rim on a 10-foot goal. But
neither have I, man. Don't worry about it.
He's a good outside shooter and a solid distributor. He's a developmental piece that I think the staff they'll probably know in a year or two if there's something there or not. But he has the frame that they like. He's 6'5" and he's got very long arms. That's going to be a hallmark of this staff, because it's something that Baylor's been known for a long time. Especially back in their zone era, when they just constantly ran 2-3 zone, 3-2 zone, and just made everybody's life really difficult because they just had long athletes everywhere. Finister fits that mold really well. Good defender, but he does need a lot of work and refinement before he's ready to get significant playing time. And then Naquan Tomlin is a prospect that I'm very excited about. He's a 7th-ranked JUCO forward, or he's a 7th-ranked JUCO prospect overall, and he's really, again, another long athlete, but he's like 6'9", about 200 pounds, but he's really strong, and he shows great athleticism in the paint. He has an array of post moves, and he also can take mid-range, and he can even step out and shoot the three effectively. He has a good shot. His form is sound, and so it's not like he's going to have to come in and like completely change up his form as a big guy, but he's incredibly athletic, long, rangy, big. That's, again, another trademark of Baylor that's going to be brought to Manhattan, are those really athletic, bouncy bigs that are going to be able to go up over everyone with really long arms and grab rebounds over everybody, and they're going to be able to run the floor and catch a lob in the post or on a fast break, and they can step out and take a three. Really versatile athlete, jack of all trades sort of bigs, where they're not phenomenal at one specific thing, and they're not like a traditional big that K-State's seen a lot of in the past. The Casey Eziegus, the Davion Bradfords of the world,
were much maligned as they were.
Yeah, those were very much back to the basket guys. Tomlin does have that element to his game, but he's a lot more than that. He's a lot more versatile than that. I am very happy with the addition. I think that he's one of the more impressive prospects that's been brought in And as a JUCO guy, he's a little bit more well developed as well. So he's probably going to be on the floor quite a bit next year if he pans out and transitions to the system as well as we think. So 2 quality additions.
Yeah. And, that's always good to have 2 quality additions, especially coming from, 7th ranked JUCO guy in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because, the narrative with K-State is, oh, it's hard to recruit to K-State. No, it's not. You just have to try.
Yeah.
You just have to try.
Yeah. So it's just a combination of charisma and effort. And so it's not rocket science.
It's really not. Especially whenever you get recruits saying that it was the best visit they've taken. Which, speaking of, the decision on one of the biggest recruits of the Tang era, that's not hard. It's been 2 months.
Yeah.
But what has potential to be one of the biggest recruits he will see in his tenure, Antoine Davis, the player out of Detroit, is making his decision on Monday.
Yep.
So stay tuned to the Twitter sphere for that.
Yeah.
It should be exciting. I don't believe that he accidentally gave his commitment away by capitalizing the D in Monday. I think that he just accidentally put a space and then removed the space.
Yeah. It might even just be D for Davis.
It might just be for Davis.
Who's to say? I hadn't even noticed that, but
no, people on Twitter were melting down about it.
Oh my goodness!
What do you expect?
People waste a lot of time overanalyzing the intricacies of tweets of collegiate athletes and high school recruits when in reality they're either trolling or didn't mean it.
That's what it is.
Or they just have a thing that they just want to do with their captions in their posts. Cam Newton always uses crazy
wingdings.
Yeah, he uses wingdings wingdings in all of his posts, and
Marquise Noel capitalizes every single word.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Some people go all caps all the way through. Some people don't use any caps. So
Stop it.
I wait for Monday, see what happens. All the public information that we have says that prior to BYU, he said that K-State was his best visit by far, and he did not update that after the BYU visit. And so right now, it's educated guess, probably either K-State or a return to Detroit. So I think Maryland's probably out of the picture, and Georgetown is. I think it's unlikely that after those 2 visits, he would tweet publicly about K-State being the best visit.
Yeah, that'd be...
and then go to one of those 2 schools.
I would be sad, but it would be really funny.
It would be really funny. That's undeniable. It would be very funny. But, yeah, don't read into college athletes' tweets that much.
You are reading the high school recruits' tweets that much. It's not worth it.
It's really not. It's a monumental waste of time to read into it too much. Because it probably doesn't mean anything. So
yeah.
So I relax, and he'll either commit to us or he won't. And if he doesn't, there are a lot of players in the transfer portal. Antoine Davis probably is, on a lot of people's minds, not even a top 10 guy in the portal right now. There are, I think it's on the ESPN top 10. I think 6 of the top 10 are not committed right now or something like that. And a lot of guys just entered the portal a few days ago, or in the last week, because that's when the deadline for that free transfer was. So you're not going to see a lot more portal entries here, but a lot of people only just started their portal journey. So, we'll see how it develops from now, and just be patient. Things are happening allegedly.
Allegedly.
So,
speaking of things happening, there are some cats who were making their way into the NFL. We'll start with those who got drafted, including the first Wildcat who got drafted in this draft. He was one of 2, and that is Skylar Thompson, the former quarterback of the K-State Wildcats. He is going to the Miami Dolphins to inevitably usurp Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater for the starting job.
Funnily enough, it's actually really good landing spot for Skylar.
That's not a bad landing spot at all.
Like, there's really not many spots that like he would be better suited for if he wants playing time.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle would be a good choice as well, though they seem to be in love with Drew Lock for...
as an MU fan, that's a mistake.
Yeah, reasons unknown to me.
Their quarterback battle is between Geno Smith and Drew Lock, and allegedly Geno Smith is winning.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Drew Lock's not good. And Geno Smith is also not good, but he's not as bad as Drew Lock. So, and he's also just a seasoned veteran. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, Skylar going to Miami, it is unironically, actually a pretty good spot for him. There's not many other places that don't have, rookie or second-year QBs. And even Tua's a young QB, but he's been a controversial QB. And then, so Tua were to get injured again, or if he were to get pulled, and if Teddy doesn't make it to the final roster, which he is on a pretty big contract, so there's a chance that, unless there's a lot of guaranteed money in it, which I'm not really sure, then he may end up they may just cut him or trade him to get rid of the contract. Yeah. So Skylar were to see the field, he'd have an excellent receiver core to throw to. I mean, Tyreek Hill's down there, Mike Gesicki, one of my favorite tight ends in the game.
Tua can't throw that far, so they may just bring in Skylar in sub packages to have him throw it deep.
I mean, like they do with Michael Bishop it was his 1 year on the Patriots when he threw a Hail Mary touchdown at the end of the half, and that was the only pass he ever threw in the NFL.
Yeah.
That would be really funny, actually. So I don't know. I would be kind of okay with that. But I don't know. Yeah, solid spot for Skylar. A strangely clear path to playing time, all things considered. When I got here on campus, he was not a draftable quarterback at all. I mean, my freshman year, he was being used as a battering ram when he was decidedly not a battering ram as a quarterback. So, but he's been refined into a QB that could potentially play some spot minutes and some spot snaps for an NFL team in a pinch and be a good locker room guy. Mm-hmm. So pretty impressive how this staff was able to develop Skylar, and also how Skylar was able to grow in a new system. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, good for Skylar. And then the next person, the second K-State Wildcat to get drafted, was actually 3 picks later.
It was very soon after, because it was Russ Yeast who went to the LA Rams. And
it's a really great fit all around, just coming from, the kid from Louisville, Kentucky, making his way out to LA. And it's going to be a really, really good scheme fit, all things considered, just because Russ Yeast is someone that can play that, a mixture role, which is kind of what he played here. And if I'm remembering correctly, the Rams ended up not keeping whoever was playing their slot cornerback role. And although they did trade for, I think it was Josh Hill, from the Browns for a future 5th-round pick, because the Rams don't care about future picks.
They do not at all. They will let other teams do the developing for them. And
I mean, it's
working. It's working. So
yeah, Russ Yeast, I don't see him ever being a true center fielding safety for the Rams, but honestly, I don't think that's what they were looking for. And there's a pretty good chance that Russ Yeast sees time not only on special teams, but as a true strong safety or a slot defender in their system. So those are 2 names that are really important to just put on the map, because it could be the start of another streak, especially given who will be coming in next year. But that'll get its own episode, believe me.
Yep. But yeah, Russ Yeast, happy for him. I was happy to see 2 Wildcats get drafted. Feels like it's been a while since that's happened. Maybe it hasn't been, but I'm trying to think back about guys who got drafted. 2020 was just Hubert, I believe.
Yes. Oh, so there is a... No, wait, we didn't get drafted last year, right?
Yeah, no one got picked up last year in the draft, unfortunately.
AJ Parker did get picked up as a UDFA and became one of the best slot corners in the NFL.
Yeah, so he should have been drafted. but it's all worked out for him. So, but yeah, I'm happy for Skylar Thompson and Russ Yeast to get selected. I mean, that's huge, just to get picked at all. We were kind of starting to tune out a little bit because it was getting to like the mid to late 7th round, and we were like barely paying attention. And Skylar got announced, and we were just shocked. And then Russ Yeast just went a few picks later, and
I scared Maple.
Yes, you did. You scared my cat.
Poor Maple.
And then of course Brock Purdy going is Mr. Irrelevant. It was poetic. We felt it. There's not a better spot for Brock Purdy than the last pick in the NFL draft. So he gets to go to Disney World for like a week or whatever it is.
Yep.
And I don't imagine he'll be doing much else in the NFL unless somebody can work out most of his flaws.
I heard someone compare him to Jimmy G the other day, and I almost threw up.
On what basis?
He has a quick release, and he's okay in the short game.
That's about all he has.
That's really diminutive of Jimmy G, but okay. But that just because only 2 people got drafted did not mean other people did not get picked up. And the first one that was announced was someone who I actually thought had an outside chance of getting drafted. Please be sure to bully me on Twitter about it. Was Josh Rivas, who is now going to the New York Giants to play guard there.
Yeah.
Who, honestly, isn't it his competition right now? It's like Will Hernandez and then literally who?
I think so, yeah.
Because they don't.
I guess also Ben Adler now.
Oh yeah, because Ben Adler is also on that same squad.
Yeah, he got picked up shortly after Rivas did. So
2 K-State interior offensive linemen going to the New York Giants under the newly established Brian Daboll regime, who isn't going to run that Shanahan-style offense, so it's actually probably a pretty decent scheme fit.
Yeah.
The next one, at least that will be coming to my mind, we'll cover another group of 2, is the Atlanta Falcons, picking up Timmy Horn and Jerron McPherson.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, pre-injury J-Mac, if you told me he went undrafted, I would not have believed you. And also, if you told me Timmy Horn went undrafted, I would believe you, but I would immediately follow it up by saying, well, whoever picked him up is going to get a really good player.
Yeah. I was really surprised that Timmy Horn didn't get more draft hype, because I felt like he was an absolute monster in the middle defensive line for K-State this past year.
Dude was getting triple teamed, and he's like, okay, and?
Yeah, he was phenomenal at jumping a snap count. That was something I noticed that he was really good at. And he just would drive and collapse a pocket and just force stress on an opposing quarterback or a running back and like mess up the holes. But the Falcons are getting a really good nose tackle to throw in the middle of their defensive line. I'm hoping that Timmy Horn's able to have some success and stick around. So, because he was one of my favorite players this past season. Just he was one of the most consistent players this year as well, I felt. From game 1 to the bowl game, I felt like he was penetrating and just all around. Well, he didn't play in the bowl game, but he
had more important matters to attend to.
Like having a child. But game 1 to the final game, he was really impressive. And it was a pleasure to watch him. And J-Mac, I'm happy he's getting picked up. But preseason, I definitely thought he was someone that would get drafted. But just the injury, I think, really set him back. But I think he's going to be able to prove himself as a quality guy that can maybe stick around on the roster of the practice squad.
Yep. And Bronson Massey got an invite to a training camp. I believe it was the Jets.
I think so. I don't recall. I don't remember where Boom Massey ended up.
And isn't there one more?
Noah Johnson's in the CFL.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he got picked up by, I believe, I forget which city, but they're the Rough Riders, I believe. I'm not super familiar with the CFL, sue me. And
yeah, sue me, yeah, please.
I don't know if he got drafted, but he was at the very least signed to the CFL. So he'll hopefully stick around in the league up there. CFL's a nice fit for Noah Johnson as well, because he is a little undersized, but he does bring some really good qualities to his game. Pulling, phenomenal at pulling, because he gets outside really fast, and he'll just knock people over.
Yeah. Taking out 2 people with the same block against Oklahoma is still one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, I do think it's telling that on this offensive line, all 3 graduating starters are still going to be playing football next season, or at the very least have been picked up right now and are getting professional looks. So I think Revis probably deserved to be drafted, but he's still a high quality UDFA signing. So
he'll probably make the team.
Yeah, I would not be shocked to see that at all, especially if he's given a good preseason. So
yeah,
and there's not a lot in front of him. So
no, there is not.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we're missing anyone on any signings. Not sure if Amanda Bebe was picked up.
He's a Jets training camp guy.
Okay.
That's who I was missing.
Okay. Then, gosh, I don't know if there's anybody else then. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of those cats are in the NFL, or in Noah Johnson's case, the CFL. So they're all continuing their football careers, which we can talk about the importance in recruiting at a later date when it's more apt. Yep. But, just it's a weekly recap, so we decided to let you know that there will be some Wildcats playing on Sundays. So now we get to move into 2 games of considerably less happy news, followed by 2 of pretty good news, which is, of course, the Batcats recap. So, we played a series against Oklahoma this previous weekend. I would not blame you if you tried to block out the memory of this series against Oklahoma from this weekend.
Yep.
Because the first 2 games were a 2-14 loss, followed by a 10-22 loss.
Yep.
Yeah.
This first game, it was 14-0 till the top of the 9th when we were able to put together a few singles. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of these Oklahoma runs.
We'll just skim over the first 2 games because there's nothing that we can say.
A lot of home runs there. At one point, there was, I believe, a dropped pop-out on the foul side by Brady Day, and I think that ended up allowing a handful of runs. 12 strikeouts for the K-State lineup, and they drew 0 walks. Only left 3 batters on base, so it wasn't even like we're just stranding a ton. I mean, they had 16 hits to 6 from us. Only 1 defensive error. This was really just a bad day for pitching. McCullough goes 5 innings. He's been battling through injury, so he truly probably was doing the best he could. And gave up 6 runs, all earned, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, a wild pitch. Not a great start at all, but considering the injury that he's been dealing with, could be a lot worse. Rubeck actually put in a quality inning, gave up an unearned run, 3 strikeouts, faced 5 batters. Ben Weber, he's had a few really quality outings coming out of nowhere this year and did not do that this time.
Do not clap at Ben.
Yeah. He went 1 2/3, 7 runs, all earned, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a hit by pitch. Then Nico Rodriguez went 1/3 of an inning with a walk, a hit, and a ground out. And then Oklahoma starter, Bennett, 11 strikeouts, no walks, no runs, 2 hits, and a hit by pitch, 104 pitches in 7 innings. Not great.
No, I mean, that's great for them.
For
us, that sucks.
Only 2 hits on the day, both from pinch hitters, Orlando Salinas and Kalen Culpepper. Or those are runs, 6 hits. Dom Johnson, Orlando Salinas, Kalen Culpepper, Nick Goodwin, Brendan Jones, and Jeff Heinrich were the only Cats to record a hit on the day. Everybody else went over, and I'm not going to read all that.
Yeah, so, I don't blame you. And then it got worse the next day.
It somehow did, which in a weird way, it almost wasn't. Just because at least we were scoring runs, but they scored a lot more than we did.
And we made a lot more mistakes than they did.
Yeah, and we were also down in this game 8-0 at one point, and then also 19-1 after the third.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the game was basically just us trying to make it look better.
It was a formality.
Yeah, which at least we hit double digits.
Yeah, so this game was started by the ghost of Griffin Hassel. Because that's not the Griffin Hassel we're used to seeing.
Yeah, because he's been really quality this year, but this was you truly cannot ask for a worse outing from a starting pitcher, I don't think.
No, you can't. He went 2 1/3, 8 hits, 13 runs given up, all earned, 5 walks, 0 strikeouts, 2 wild pitches, 1 hit by pitch on 81 pitches. But then Landry Weidman came in immediately following him, and not one to be outdone. Landry Weidman gave up 1 hit. He did not record an inning, by the way. He gave up 1 hit, 6 earned runs, and 5 walks.
31 pitches to give up 6 runs. Yikes.
And then Wesley Moore pitched 3 2/3. He actually probably had the second best day of all the pitchers, which is, given the other two, that's not hard. Yeah. He ended up giving up 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 wild pitch on 87 pitches. And then Tyrell, who undoubtedly had the best outing of the day, given that he had 0 earned runs. In 0 earned runs, 1 total run, 2 hits, 1 strikeout on 34 pitches. So,
pretty sharp divide between the 2 best and 2 worst pitchers for the Cats on this day. Granted, OU, their first 2 pitchers did not have great games. The Bats, honestly, were pretty good this day. We got 10 runs on 9 hits. However, 5 errors is a lot of errors for the Cats. 2 from Cole Johnson, 1 from Brendan Jones, 1 from Rafael Pelletier, and 1 from Griffin Hassel. I did not watch this game because I was visiting with my dad, and I listened to parts of it intermittently while driving, and then I decided to stop about halfway through the 3rd inning for mental health reasons.
Yeah, I will be opting out of listening to the rest of this game. Please respect my decision.
Yep. Probably the worst day I've seen from the pitching staff all season. I was really hoping we could just not give up 20 runs in a game this year, and I guess that was too much to ask for.
I don't like baseball with football scores.
I kind of agree with that, honestly. And yeah, it was a tough outing for Griffin Hassel, especially given the last weekend against UC Irvine. He had a great start against UC Irvine, a quality UC Irvine team at that. But this Oklahoma team was just absolutely blowing up our pitching, and apparently our defense as well. 5 errors, that's completely inexcusable. And that's not just 5 errors, but there was also 3 combined from whoever was playing center field for us. Cole Johnson and Brendan Jones had a total of 3 between them, and Griffin Hassel and Rafael Pelletier had a few errors as well. Just
pain.
Did not watch this game, don't know what happened. Don't care to find out either, honestly. I will say there were a couple of good batting performances this day. Cole Johnson, despite his awful performance in the field, he went 2 for 3, 5 RBIs and 2 runs. So I believe he had 2 home runs in this game. Yes, he did. Yeah, so actually a pretty quality day at the plate for Cole Johnson. I'd imagine with 2 errors in center field was probably the only reason he was still in the game.
Yeah, 1 run per error, 1 home run per error.
That's not a great trade rate, but
no.
Yeah. Then Nick Goodwin, he did go 1 for 4 with an RBI, a walk, 2 runs, and then Kalen Culpepper goes 1 for 2. A little better drawing walks. Rafael Pelletier went 1 for 1 with 2 walks and 2 runs and an RBI. So actually a really nice day at the plate for Pelletier, but again, trading that off with an error. Strange how that works.
Yeah.
So
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah. Really, really, really tough game. And all of these runs, 32 combined runs in this game, all of them were scored in the 7th inning or sooner. So you'd think that there was maybe some garbage time runs tacked on at the end, but no, not at all. Everybody just gave up after the 7th.
Yeah.
Which is fair, honestly.
Yeah. So. This was one of those games that would have been called if it were a getaway game.
Yeah. This definitely would have been called. Well, I don't know if it can be called in the 3rd, but it probably would have been called around the 6th or 7th. But It's not all bad, I guess.
I mean, the last game of the series went pretty well. That was a K-State victory. It was an 8-7 victory in favor of the Cats. It was a comeback victory.
Yeah.
Oklahoma held the lead going into the 8th inning, and then K-State decided that they were going to take that lead from them. And yeah, it was a much better performance by the Cats. I'll cover scoring if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay. So the Cats got off the oh no, it's already started. Started off the scoring with Dylan Phillips going a sacrifice fly to score Dom Johnson. The Oklahoma Sooners responded in the next inning with a home run. And then in the second inning, the first inning was the home run, and in the second inning, there was another home run, a 2-run home run from Squires scoring Clark. Then in the fifth inning, Kalen Culpepper advanced to third on a wild pitch. On that same wild pitch, Justin Mitchell managed to score from third on a wild pitch.
That must have just gone into the stands or something.
With the space.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Justin Mitchell, we love you. And in the bottom of the fifth, Nicholas from Oklahoma advanced Pettis to third and then scored Horton. Then in the sixth, there was a double that scored Crooks and Treadway. Then in the seventh, the Cats warmed up the bats, and Kalen Culpepper scored Justin Mitchell on a single in the middle. Dylan Phillips ended up hitting a double, which scored Kalen Culpepper. And then in the eighth, Josh Nikoloff capped off the scoring to make it 5-6 with a single home run. Then Justin Mitchell ended up hitting a double down the line, which ended up scoring Jeff Heinrich to tie the game. And then Dom Johnson decided to hit a 2-run home run, scoring both him and Brendan Jones, giving the Cats the lead. The Oklahoma Sooners would attempt to come back in the eighth with a sacrifice fly, but would come up short in both innings, making the final score 8-7 in favor of your Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, so granted, I will say, after starting against the Big 12's 4 best teams, Oklahoma's decidedly the 5th best team, and they actually might move into the top 4 the way that Texas has been playing. It really does not get more difficult than how the Batcats have started this season. With that being said, losing games 14-2 and 22-10 just because you're on the road is completely inexcusable. I mean, I do not know what it is with the Batcats, but they just consistently cannot perform on the road, and it's not just this year, it's last year as well. And it's been very consistent, and it's really concerning because we're never going to make the NCAA tournament if we can only play at home, because we can't play all of our games at home. And I don't understand. Maybe it's just part of not being a college athlete that I don't get it, but I don't know. At least in my mind, it doesn't seem like it would be that big of a difference just playing in a different park, even if it's uncomfortable or you're not used to it. It is still the same game of baseball played by the same rules. Maybe I'm oversimplifying. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. Blake Adams, he was a starter, did not have a very good outing for his standards. He went 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs all earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a hit by pitch on 94 pitches. Blake Corsentino relieved him and is credited with the victory in this one with 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, a strikeout on 35 pitches. So did a really nice job keeping the pitch count low through 3. And then Dylan Phillips came in to get credited with the save.
Because of course he did.
Again, he went 1 inning with 1 hit, 1 walk, 18 pitches. So not as efficient as he normally is. We're going to remember this forever, Dylan. But that's his 3rd save of the season. And the Bats, I mean, like the day before, you know, they were quality. I mean, we put 8 runs across, which should be enough to win you a game, and it actually was this game.
Oh boy!
Dom Johnson went 1 for 3 with a walk, 2 RBIs on that big home run he had at the end of the game. Dom Hughes had a strikeout. Dylan Phillips went 1 for 4, 2 RBI. Nick Goodwin went 1 for 5, 2 strikeouts. Josh Nikoloff went 1 for 5 with an RBI, 2 strikeouts. Cole Johnson 1 for 4, strikeout. Jeff Heinrich 1 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. And Justin Mitchell went 2 for 3 with an RBI, a walk. So probably the best outing on the day, maybe other than Dom Johnson, just because of the clutch hitting. And then Brendan Jones pinch ran for Justin Mitchell, because of course, and he scored a run. And Kalen Culpepper went 2 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, and a run. Pretty much identical to Justin Mitchell's stat line there, actually. Sorry that you keep catching strays, Justin. Like, it's just that you're like comically slow.
You're a catcher. You're not meant to be fast.
But yeah, a lot of doubles. Justin Mitchell had 2 doubles. Kalen Culpepper, Jeff Heinrich, Dylan Phillips each had 1. Dom Johnson, Josh Nikoloff each had a home run. Dylan Phillips with a sac fly. And then Dom Hughes, what is SH? Please help me, Ace. It's definitely not stole home.
I think it's sacrifice hit.
Sacrifice hit?
So okay. Like bunting.
All right. I'll take it.
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to put a bow on this series because we said last week that this would be a remarkably important series for the K-State Wildcats, the Batcats, being a tournament team. And as much as I want to be a homer and say, oh no, we still have a chance here, it's gotten to the point where unless we clean sweep the rest of the season, and we do it convincingly, I am not wholly convinced that this is a tournament team.
Yeah, I'm not either. It would require sweeping KU, which we should do anyway, sweeping Baylor, which they're not very good this year, so we should do it anyways. Then we need to win 4 straight on the road to end the year, and then probably pick up a few games at Arlington, for the Big 12 tournament. So, I mean, you win 3 against KU, hopefully win 3 against Baylor. I'll say they take 3 or 4 in their trip to Appalachia against Virginia Tech and West Virginia. That's 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9, and then add a loss in there. That puts you at 32 and 22. Probably need to pick up 2 games down in Arlington because that's where every championship for the Big 12 is, I guess, other than basketball.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. And I mean, at that point, you're probably looking at like 34 and 23, which I think is their record from last year. And if history tells, that's not going to be enough. Granted, they do have a few nice wins. And some close losses as well. Oklahoma State winning at home was nice. Being competitive with TCU and
winning the series against Texas.
Yeah, winning the series against Texas. And then sticking right with Texas Tech on the road in 2 of those games, and probably should have had one of them. And then winning on the road against Wichita State. It's not a ton, but it's something.
Beating a regional team and UC Irvine.
Yeah, UC Irvine's a quality series win as well, but I just don't know if it's there. And I really want this team to be a regional team, but they can't keep going on the road and getting blown out twice and then like sneaking away with the win. Yeah. Oklahoma, if they keep one of those blowouts but win the series, then there's probably still there's a better shot than there was as we stand. Beating Wichita State at home is nice because you get another season sweep. So you sweep Omaha and Wichita State this season. But if they drop a single game to KU, then they're firmly out, I would say, because KU is not good.
Because last year, weren't we one of the first 4 out?
We were in volleyball. I think baseball analytics had us as one of the first 4 out, but the committee didn't even have us as the next 4 out. So, because the committee did not like us, even though I think there were some analysts that were big fans of us, but not quite enough to put us in the field, especially after the noise we made in the tournament. But this team, the blueprint going forward, which I'm just thinking of next season at this point, because there should be, in theory, quite a few guys returning.
Unless they decide to go to the draft. Well, there's one in particular that would probably go to the draft.
Yeah, you'd think Dylan Phillips is going to the draft.
Yeah.
And you lose Jeff Heinrich as well, and I'm struggling to think of other seniors on this roster.
Mitchell.
Justin Mitchell, you're right. It's Terrence Sperlin, although honestly he may come back after injury if he feels he wants to, but that's kind of up in the air. Terrence Sperlin is a guy they've really missed this season. Josh Nikoloff is a senior as well. But other than that, I mean, that's like 3 seniors, 3 or 4 seniors, plus Dylan Phillips, who probably gets drafted, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And we haven't even seen Jackson Wentworth yet. I think he's getting I'd assume he had a season-ending surgery, and Pete was just bluffing.
Yeah.
When he said that he wasn't coming back, or that he was going to be back.
I miss him. I'd like to see him.
I'd really like to see him because, by God, we need another starter. And yeah, this is a team that, on paper, next year they should be able to compete for a regional. That's on paper.
And paper is a flimsy thing that can tear itself apart the moment you put it in water.
Yes. This team needs to be able to find a way to... They don't even have to go 500. They just need to sniff 500 in their away games, honestly, for them to possibly become a regional team.
Yeah.
Because they dominate at home. I mean,
17-5 at home.
17-5 at home. That's incredible. And they're from their losses at home. I mean, you go through them. One of them is a 3-4 loss to Air Force. Air Force beat Texas by 12.
Yeah.
That's a good team. 2 of those losses are to Oklahoma State by combined 5 runs. One of those, truthfully, we just completely blew it.
Yep.
And then you go down the list. Another one was to Texas. You can
Mickey Mouse loss.
Yeah, you can attribute that to a dubious call by a dumb umpire, and then one of them was UC Irvine, where we just straight up just
died.
They just caught the wind at the right moments, and we didn't, and we deserved to lose that game. But this team dominates at home, and they thrive off of home energy. They have to find a way to at least kind of replicate that energy on the road. Because they cannot afford to keep getting killed on the road like this. I get it's difficult to go on the road in the Big 12 and beat quality teams like Oklahoma, but they again keep coming back to this. It's like only applicable in baseball. Figure it out.
Yeah,
like that's the best I can say. Because I want this team to be successful. Because I thoroughly enjoy watching the Batcats play, especially at home, because they're really good at home. But they can't just be a home team. So
no. That being said, after that Oklahoma series, I'm struggling. There was one more game, and that is against the Wichita State Shockers, who is in competition for the worst baseball team in the state, and that competition is between KU and Wichita State. With this game, Wichita State fell to 15-30.
That is tough, as they say.
Yeah, as the kids say, that is remarkably tough.
Yeah.
But this was actually a pretty solid game, a complete reversal of the blowout that K-State had in Wichita in one of the few brilliant road performances. It was still in Kansas. It barely counts.
Yeah, apparently as long as we're within state lines, we still have our powers.
So we need to move the tournament to Kansas City.
Yes, specifically in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes. So can we use the T-Bone Stadium?
Sure. Or the Monarchs.
Or the Monarchs. I'm so used to calling
that
them.
Would actually be kind of cool. The Monarchs have a neat field. So
yeah, true. But yeah, I will go over the scoring because it's such a long list. It was a 3-1 victory in favor of K-State, and all of K-State's runs came in the third. The first came off a Dylan Phillips double, which scored Dom Johnson, and then Nick Goodwin ended up hitting another double, which scored Kalen Culpepper and Dylan Phillips. Wichita State scored in the 8th with a double, which scored Tole. But that
was it.
That's it. That's the scoring.
Yeah, 6 hits for Wichita State to 5 for the Cats, but the Cats did all of their damage in 1 inning. The Cats did commit an error in this game as well. Go figure. It was Dylan Phillips, though. So, unusual error from Dylan Phillips. And then, again, we had 5 players.
They actually have that. They scored that differently at the game because it was an E6, which means it was an error on Nick Goodwin at the game. They scored it differently on here.
Really?
Because that was on the pickle play. Remember? Where they had him picked off.
I was not able to watch this game.
Oh, right. So there was a play in which we had a guy dead to rights.
Yeah.
Herman killed this guy on the pickoff.
Yeah.
So he gets into a pickle, rundown. And Dylan Phillips tosses the ball at like the last possible moment, and Nick Goodwin closes his glove too early, and it just bounces off his glove into left, like into shallow left.
That's weird that they would call that on Dylan then on here, maybe the scorekeeper felt bad for Nick because his fielding rate is pretty not great, as I recall.
Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, they scored it at the stadium because they have like a little score box under the video board, and it said E6, which is error shortstop.
Yeah, so based on your description of the events, that sounds right.
Also, we're getting denied access to Nick Good. Okay, there it is.
There it is. Fielding percentage 0.899. Not great, Bob. I guess, I mean, that's what?
That's an error every 10 attempts.
That's tough. That's tough. That's something that you just hate to see. That could happen to anybody. Well, actually, that's a lie. That couldn't happen to anybody.
You don't like seeing that.
Yeah, that's... Ugh.
But that digression on Nick Goodwin's fielding stats aside.
Yeah, fell into the rabbit hole there. But he did have a nice day batting, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored on the game. So kind of the difference there. And goes 1 for 3 with a walk. Dom Johnson 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a run. Kalen Culpepper 1 for 3, batting second.
Yeah, he got kicked up in the order and he actually kind of earned it.
Yeah, Kalen, he's been all over the place in lineup this year.
You don't know what to do with him.
He's been everywhere but the middle. He's batted. I think he's hit leadoff before.
I think he has as well.
And then he now is hitting second. I've seen him bat like 7, 8, 9. Just avoiding the middle with Kalen really. But draws a walk as well. Dylan Phillips goes 1 for 4 with an RBI and a strikeout. Scores a run. 2. Cole Johnson goes 1 for 3. Josh Nikoloff goes 0 for with a walk. Jeff Heinrich 1 for 3. The strikeout. Orlando Salinas pinch hits and does either ground out or fly out. And then Justin Mitchell goes 0 for. And Cameron Usselton goes 0 for with a walk. And then Brendan Jones, defensive sub for him. 3 doubles. Kalen Culpepper, Dylan Phillips, Nick Goodwin. I imagine they were all in the same inning.
Yes, they were.
So that would be back-to-back-to-back doubles to score our only runs of the entire game. And then Cole Johnson got caught stealing and also hit by a pitch. And then the controversial
sequence.
Of course. And then, of course, Dylan Phillips with the controversial error accreditation. So, but yeah, not a crazy game. Total opposite, really, of the game in Wichita. As a pitcher's duel, a rare sight for the Batcats. Although it was Herman Fajardo versus everybody.
Yeah, absolute gem from Herman Fajardo. Ended up going 6 innings, only giving up 1 hit, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. The majority of those strikeouts, by the way, I think were in like the first 5, because he struck out the side twice.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
On 87 pitches, then Blake Corsentino came in, pitched 1 2/3 innings, giving up the only earned run, but with 2 strikeouts with 8 batters faced on 22 pitches. And then, because of course he did, Dylan Phillips came in, pitched 1 1/3, ended up getting credited with the save, giving up 2 hits and 1 strikeout.
4th save of the year for Dylan Phillips. And Herman Fajardo, I believe he has the best record for pitchers, which granted is the worst stat for pitchers. If you're familiar
really
with Dave Steeb. Dave Steeb deserves better. But Herman Fajardo, 4-1 on the year, so a nice record there, even though it means nothing. It looks nice though. But yeah, and then back to the state dominance thing that we're talking about. Yeah, that moves Wichita State to 15-30. Pretty clearly not having a great season. They've really fallen from grace as well. And KU's really not doing any better. They're 19-27, 3-12 overall, below 500 at home, and well below 500 away. And, just really, really tough. KU baseball's been rough for a while. If there's one thing that we can say about Pete Hughes that he's changed since he got here, it's that at least we aren't objectively tied for worst with KU in the Big 12. It's that we're very solidly second worst now instead of just being last.
Baylor,
yes.
and West Virginia.
Yeah. We're in a constant dogfight to be the least embarrassing.
Let's go!
So
Race to the bottom, baby!
But yeah, getting the KU series at home, there is absolutely zero reason that we should not sweep the state, and we should be embarrassed if KU takes a game against us. There's multiple reasons for that. One of them is that KU is not a very good pitching team. The other is that K-State is a very good hitting team.
That's me, by the way,
Yes.
knocking on wood.
Yeah. And then lastly, it's at Twinton. There's no reason that the Cats should lose that game. Or any of these games. So I will be monumentally disappointed.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, I will have a pitchfork outside of veneer for a non-revenue sports if we lose a game.
Yeah, tune in next week when we melt down with our guests if that happens.
That will just be a whole 50 minutes of meltdown if that's what happens. So
I feel like the guests that we're bringing on, they'd be able to be more reasonable.
yeah, I'm sure I'll find a way to be reasonable if we lose a game, but I'm just not even entertaining the possibility of it happening right now. It would be utterly shocking and deflating as a fan if we drop any of these games, just based on quality of team alone. I mean, they've gotten absolutely wrecked several times this year. Even our games against Oklahoma, those first two, they weren't as bad as some of the times as KU, which that's not a very good measuring stick to have. We should expect more. But while we're on that topic, though, just, we can't say at least we haven't gotten blown out that bad.
At least we're the best school in the state. We're winning the state.
The bar is unbelievably low this year, but we easily
last year.
Yeah, we easily clear it though. We do easily clear the bar for being the best team in the state because it's so low. I mean, because Wichita State, they're 15-30. That's horrible.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, think about a team that was really good for a long time, and they have truly fallen from grace. I am now investigating their record. I want to see what has happened. I mean, they fired their legendary coach, and they're
reaping the consequences.
They truly are. Where is the baseball schedule?
You may not look at the baseball schedule. You must only use the ticker. Oh.
Is that it?
Yes. I was joking when I said that, but that's actually true.
Oh, Lord. This is terrible. Wait, no, it's got to be here somewhere. Wichita
Join
State.
the Aggieville Alleycats as they look for Wichita State's baseball schedule.
Wichita State, I have questions.
Several.
And they're all about why your website is awful. There it is. Okay, that just didn't load the first time. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, Wichita State. They're somehow 5-0 at neutral sites. Good for them, I guess.
They started 0-6.
Yeah, they start 0-6. When was the last time they won a game? They beat Memphis twice. Before that, it was a while.
Oh my goodness.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game losing streak. Then beat Memphis twice, then lose to us. That's tough.
That is unbelievably tough.
That could have happened to anybody, honestly.
Anyway, yes, thank you for indulging
It
us
is
in
it
this
is
digression.
bold of them to have the dates for NCAA regionals on their website because they are not making those. That is very bold, Wichita State. You are literally 15-30 right now.
Anyway, thank you for sticking with us through that digression. The next series for the Batcats is against KU. It's the Sunflower Showdown in Manhattan. So please be sure to come on down and watch come on up to watch the game because it ought to be actually a pretty good battle. Well, it'll be a good battle for the Cats, hopefully.
Yep. Knock on wood.
But now, the moment you've all inevitably been waiting for, it is the wacky segment of the week, where we decide to ask ourselves a question, and you can go ahead and answer the question as well on Twitter if you'd like. And it is just a wacky question that's just for complete fun. It's not a time sink, we swear. We do it because it is genuinely a blast. So this week's wacky segment of the week question is pick 4 current K-State athletes, it doesn't matter the sport, to make a band and then tell me the name of that band. Want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
I had to do some research for this.
I'm scared.
The first 2 will be names that probably all of you recognize. I have Deuce Vaughn and Marquise Newell. And I followed up with Molly Ramsey of volleyball and Porter List of soccer. And Deuce is 5'6", Marquise is 5'8", Molly Ramsey is 5'4", and Porter List is 5'1". And the band is called Heart Over Heights.
I hate you.
I was just looking for short people. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, no. All right, so what? Who do you have doing what?
I didn't specify. I figured that Deuce would be on vocals.
Okay.
Marquise seems like a drums guy.
Okay.
And then I would put Porter on piano, but she's 5'1", so I don't know if she'd be able to reach it. So I'm gonna throw Molly Ramsey on there, and then Porter List can take like guitar or bass or something. I don't know how to construct a band that well, but
all right.
Yeah, I've got stuff for them to do.
Eat you.
I know.
All right. So my answer also includes Deuce Vaughn. We're making a boy band. We're making like a 1990s style boy band. Deuce Vaughn is obviously going to be the front man. Think your prototypical, your Justin Timberlakes, Then everyone else is just kind of a backup singer. Next up is Christian Duffy.
Okay.
Because Christian Duffy has to be on this somehow. Next up is Dylan Phillips. And then fourth and finally is, I believe, what might be a surprise entry. And that is Ish Masood.
Really?
Yes. And this group will be called the Cats Meow. And they will make almost exclusively NSYNC covers. And their TikTok will exclusively be thirst traps.
Fair play. I was really hoping you were going to say the Cat's Pajamas.
The Cat's Pajamas. You see, that actually might be better. No, it's not.
Like a vaguely Italian guy saying, "Hey, it's the Cat's Pajamas."
Oh no. So yeah, please be sure to add us on Twitter at Aggieville Alleycats and let us know your answer for the K-State band.
Yeah, 4 athletes, put them together, name your band. Let us know what your band is. I am looking forward to reading
Heart Over Response. I actually really want to hear what people say.
Yeah, I am actually like genuinely interested. Like I want to know what cool ideas people have, because I think that people will like be able to come up with like some really neat stuff. Just for the bands. Like they'll like some people have some obscure things.
I like how Deuce was in both of our bands.
He was, for completely different reasons.
Yeah. I was thinking about substituting Ish for Daniel Green.
Oh, yeah?
And then just calling it Deuces featuring Phillips.
Deuces featuring Phillips. I like that.
Phillips and Duffy.
Right. I like that.
The Deuce and Deuce experience.
The Deuce and Deuce. Oh, boy.
But, yeah, that pretty much wraps up this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to contact the show, you can feel free to follow us on Twitter at Aggieville Alleycats. That's capital A, and capital C in cats. If you want to email us, we are AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdward00.
I am at Connor Baltazar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store, where you can find such designs as Neon Alleycats, Play Sandstorm Cowards, and Doomtang Clan. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.